So the question is, screen share हो रही है? Okay. Question number 1. State the principle of moments. जी बच्चे, हाउ कैन यू डिफाइन? कल हमने पढ़ा था प्रिंसिपल ऑफ मोमेंट. हाँ जी, वेरी गुड. तो आप कहेंगे इन इक्विलिब्रियम the sum of clockwise moment equals, so in equilibrium mic offer, in equilibrium the sum of clockwise moment is equal to the sum of anti-clockwise moment about pivot. Sum of clockwise moment equals sum of anti-clockwise moment about pivot. जी बच्चे, नेक्स्ट पार्ट पढ़े. नेक्स्ट. ओके. ये ऑलरेडी हमने पेपर भी किया हुआ है. यस. टेन ही लेंगे ना. Shit. तो इसमें हम लिखते हैं कि each of max, one marks का, so weight of one bag mg, one bag having mass 2g is 10, so the answer is 20 Newton. Okay. Next, the maximum weight of the suitcase that can be carried on to the aeroplane is 67 Newton. Determine whether the weight of the suitcase exceeds the maximum allowed. Show a calculation in your answer. जी बच्चे. Don't. वालेकुम अस्सलाम. कैसे हैं आप? ठीक है. मैं. ओके. सो द क्वेश्चन इज, अभी बच्चे हमने स्टार्ट किया है. जी जी, मोमेंट का ही स्टार्ट किया. सो मोमेंट इज ऑल्सो कॉल्ड टर्निंग इफेक्ट ऑफ फोर्स. इसके मैं आपको फॉर्मूलाज रिवाइज करवा देता हूँ. मोमेंट इक्वल्स प्रोडक्ट ऑफ फोर्स एंड द परपेंडिकुलर डिस्टेंस फ्रॉम द पिवट. एक फार्मूला तो आपको ये आना चाहिए. एंड नेक्स्ट इज clockwise moment equals anti-clockwise moment. ठीक है? So clockwise moment equals anti-clockwise moment, which is F1 D1 equals F2 D2, and the distance should be perpendicular distance from the pivot. Okay? और बस इसमें यही दो फॉर्मूलाज यूज होते हैं, ठीक है? एंड force may be equals to the weight equals to the mg. Force may be equals to the weight and weight equals to mg. So we just have two formulas for this chapter. One is F into D and the second one is F1 D1 equals F2 D2, clockwise movement and anti-clockwise movement. And force may be equals to the weight equals to the mg. अभी इन्होंने पहला बच्चे पूछा था state the principle of moment. So principle of moment is in equilibrium. Whenever the body is in equilibrium, it means the sum of clockwise moment is equals to the sum of anti-clockwise moment about pivot. ठीक है? और इसके बाद हमने वेट फाइंड किया. कहते हैं okay, in this picture we have a pivot, we have a plank, on the left side we have a 3 bags of sugar, and on the right side we have a suitcase. The distance from the pivot is 90 centimeter for the suitcase and 80 centimeter from the 3 bags of sugar. So first we have to find the weight. Weight equals to mg. M is the mass of one sugar bag, which is 2 kg, and g is 10. So the answer is 20 Newton. It is simple. Next, the maximum weight of the suitcase that can be carried on the aeroplane is 67 Newton. So maximum weight जो आप carry कर सकते हैं, this is 67 Newton. Or for the suitcase. Determine whether the weight of the suitcase exceeds the maximum allowed limit. Show your working. तो अभी मैंने आपको बताया, in this case we have to apply clockwise and anti-clockwise moment. जी मायदा, which will create a clockwise and anti-clockwise moment in this picture? About जी, the question is कि हमारे पास on the left side we have a 3 bags of sugar, and on the right side we have a suitcase placed on a plank, and plank is in equilibrium on a on this pivot. अब मुझे बताएं कि कौन क्लॉकवाइज मोमेंट क्रिएट करेगा और किसकी वजह से एंटी क्लॉकवाइज मोमेंट होगी. Very good. Anti-clockwise moment is due to the sugar bags, and clockwise moment is due to the suitcase. So my the mic off कर. So यहाँ पे हम लिखते हैं कि anti-clockwise moment equals to the clockwise moment. Anti-clockwise moment माइदा ने कहा है कि बैग की वजह से होगी. इसको मैं लिख देता हूँ F1 D1 that is F2 D2. बच्चे अब हम anti-clockwise moment is due to the bags, and how many bags we have? 1, 2, 3, each having a weight of 20, 20, 40, 60. So the total weight of the sugar bags are 60. ठीक है? So 60 लिखते हैं, and their distance from the pivot is what? 80 centimeter. No need to convert them into meter because on both sides we have a centi. So the weight of the sugar suitcase is unknown and the distance is 90. So which is go check करें. F2 equals the weight of the suitcase, which is 53.33. So this is 60 into 80 over 90, which कितना है? 53.33. So I just write 53 Newton. और उन्होंने लिमिट कितनी दी हुई थी 67। सो इसका मतलब है weight of the suitcase is less than 67 न्यूटन। सो इसमें हम लिख सकते हैं कि the weight of the suitcase is the weight of suitcase is less than ऐसे लिखते हैं is 53 Newton, 53 Newton, and it is less than, and it is less than the maximum allowed limit. Maximum allowed limit. क्योंकि उन्होंने क्वेश्चन में कहा हुआ था the maximum allowed limit is 67, but the weight of the suitcase is 53 Newton. Any confusion? Next is a tall bus is tested for stability. Figure 2.2 shows the bus on a slope. The center of the gravity of the bus is marked. This one is the center of the gravity. State what is meant by the center of gravity of an object. Ji Abdullah. What is the center of the point where entire weight of an object, the point where entire weight of an object appears to act. Appear to act. या concentrated भी कह सकते हैं. Next is when the slope is made very steep, the bus fall over by rotating about P. Explain why the bus falls over. अभी तो बस इस तरह है ना, कहते हैं कि अगर इस बस को स्लोप जो है वो if the slope becomes more steeper, let's suppose ऐसे हो जाता है, mean its angle with the ground becomes greater than, मतलब यहाँ पे अगर देखा जाए तो एंगल थोड़ा कम है, इधर एंगल ज्यादा हो गया, कहते हैं नाउ द बस विल टॉपल्स या रोटेट कर जाएगी, गिर जाएगी. व्हाई? जी अब्दुल्ला. लेट्स सपोज दिस वन इज द बस. अब कह रहे हैं कि जो बस है वो इस तरह से टॉपल कर जाएगी. क्यों? जी बच्चे. हाँ, सेंटर ऑफ ग्रेविटी. No, its center of gravity will be now out of the base. यहाँ पे देखें center of gravity is within the base. मतलब the line of center of gravity ये दो टायर्स के दरमियान में ही है. लेकिन जब इसको आप ज्यादा टिल्ट कर देंगे ना, so there is a possibility that center of gravity now goes out of the base. इस तरह से बना रहा हूँ, अभी तो मैं जबरदस्ती बना रहा हूँ, ठीक है. So it will be out of the base that causes the bus to rotate. ठीक है, that will cause the bus to rotate. तो इसमें हम लिखते हैं क्या लिखें इसमें स्टार्ट. the weight of the bus, the weight of the bus goes out of the base, out of the base, the weight of the bus, यहाँ पे bus आएगा, the weight of the bus goes out of the base. This create this creates an clockwise. This creates anti-clockwise moment. Anti-clockwise moment about P, about point P, जिसकी वजह से बस जो है वो रोटेट करेगी. नेक्स्ट इज क्वेश्चन नंबर सेकेंड. जी मायदा पढ़े. अच्छा, मैं जरा पढ़ता हूँ, आपकी बात सही नहीं आ रही. कहते हैं अ प्लेन इरेगुलर लैमिना हैज अ mass, this one mass is 50 10 raised to power minus 3. It hangs from a nail that passes through a small hole h near the edge of the lamina. The nail acts as a pivot, so nail is our pivot point, and the lamina can swing about it. The lamina is held in position shown in figure 3.1. A small distance above a horizontal bench is this one. ठीक है? So this is the weight of the lamina which is acting downward, and where is the nail? This one is the nail of fixed point. ठीक है? And so the weight creates a clockwise moment about the nail. The center of gravity of the lamina is at G. The weight of the lamina is a force that acts downward. Explain why the lamina experiences this downward force. G. Why the lamina experiences the downward force? क्योंकि डाउनवर्ड फोर्स किसकी वजह से लग रही है अब्दुल्ला? ग्रेविटी की वजह से, है ना? सो यहाँ पे ओके, तो यहाँ पे हम ऐसे लिखेंगे द डाउनवर्ड फोर्स इज ड्यू टू the explain why the lamina experiences the downward force is due to the gravitational force of earth. ठीक है? Calculate the weight of the lamina on earth. You have to find the weight of the lamina. So we know that weight equals mg. M is the mass. Mass is what? 50 grams था ना? So 10 raised to power minus 3, and the value of g is 9.8. चेक करें क्या आता है. 50 10 raised to power minus 3 multiply by g. G is 9.8. जी मायदा कोई कंफ्यूजन? जी मायदा आपने ज्वाइन किया अभी? सो अभी हमने बच्चे फॉर्मूला यूज किया है वेट का mg, द mass is 50 grams and it is multiplied by 10 raised to power minus 3 multiplied by 9.8. चेक करें अब्दुल्ला क्या आता है आंसर। तो फिर मैं करता हूँ 50 10 पावर माइनस 3 0.492, तो 0.49, this is the weight. Next is the weight produces a moment about pivot edge. Weight produces the moment. Using figure 3.1, calculate the moment of weight about pivot. जी माइदा, moment का फॉर्मूला क्या होता है? Moment equals जी माइदा, आवाज नहीं आ रही आपकी। F F multiply by D, the product of force. 4, the product of force and perpendicular distance from the pivot. So force, the force is the weight of the lamina, which is 0.49, and we have to take a perpendicular distance from the pivot. So Abdullah, in this picture, what should be the perpendicular distance from the pivot? 6, 8 or 10? 8 है। देखें, यहाँ से मैं इधर आऊंगा और इधर से नीचे आ जाता हूँ। So this will be the perpendicular distance from the pivot. तो मायदा, we have to take a perpendicular distance. अब इसमें in this question they give three distances for just confusion, to create a confusion: 10 centimeter, 6 centimeter and 8 centimeter. But we always take a perpendicular distance from the pivot. The perpendicular distance from the pivot is 8 centimeter, and 8 centi mean 10 raised to power minus 2. So just multiply करेंगे। जी माहिदा, आपके पास कैलकुलेटर है तो चेक करें। पढ़ने आया फिजिक्स। 0.49 into 8 10 raised to power minus 2. The answer is 0.0392, which is 0.039. Next is the lamina is now released from the position shown in figure 3.1. Describe what happens to the lamina from the time it is released until it stops moving. उसको हमने इसको रिलीज किया है, they will start to swing about the pivot. तो उससे क्या होगा? हाँ, तो इसमें हम लिखते हैं the lamina vibrate, the lamina, अच्छा इसमें the lamina is now released from position shown in figure 3.1. अच्छा, अब इसकी वजह से बच्चे ये रोटेट करेगा ना। ओके, हम लिखते हैं द लैमिना vibrate clockwise, the lamina the lamina start to oscillate or vibrate, the lamina start to vibrate clockwise for a while, and when it stops and when it stops, तो फिर अब्दुल्ला क्या होगा? ऑसिलेशन और वाइब्रेशन एक ही होती है, तो फिर क्या होगा? ये इस तरह से हो जाएगी, ये एच पॉइंट है ना, so let's suppose the edge point is here, so when it stops the center of gravity is directly below the edge point. ठीक है, तो इसमें लिखेंगे when it stop, so center of gravity, so center of gravity is exactly below the point, below edge. ठीक है, नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन नंबर 3 अब्दुल्ला पढ़े. तो इसमें हो क्या रहा है? वी हैव अ रबर बैंड, here we have the two rods like x and y. यहाँ पे एक बीच में रबर बैंड लगा हुआ है जो उनको फिक्स करता है. State two ways in which the dimension of rubber band changes as the mass is added to section xy. कहते हैं two ways. अच्छा, जैसे if I add the masses, so what happens to the length of the rubber band? Is it increase or decrease? Increase, and the thickness of the rubber band is going to be decreases as shown in the picture. So हम लिखते हैं the length of the rubber band increases and its thickness, the length of rubber band increases and its thickness decreases. Next is state the form of energy stored in a stretched rubber band. Maida. State G. Elastic potential energy. So elastic potential energy. Chemical potential energy are stored in food, fuels, muscles. ठीक है? So state the principle of moment. The principle of moment is, अभी हमने किया था, in equilibrium, the sum of clockwise moment is equal to the sum of anti-clockwise moment about pivot. तो जब भी कोई बॉडी इक्विलिब्रियम में होती है, so their clockwise and anti-clockwise moments are equal. मैं मायदा को एक दफा पिक्चर्स की शो कर देता हूँ. For example, this one is the rod which is fixed exactly from the middle, and here you place one object on the right side and on the left side place a second object. The weight of both objects are acting downward, and their distance, you have to take a distance from the pivot or from the fixed points. Now let's suppose this one is F1 and its distance from the pivot is D1. This is F2 and their distance from the pivot is D2. So the rule is clockwise moment F1 D1 equals anti-clockwise moment. ठीक है? Next, explain why the force that the rubber band exert on section XY is larger than the weight of mass. Then what happens? Okay, so देखिए, let's suppose this one is the pivot. The way these masses create clockwise or anti-clockwise moment about X. This will create clockwise or anti-clockwise moment, Abdullah? Yes, clockwise. And this will create, the rubber band creates anti-clockwise. ऐसे याद रख लेते हैं. Now we know that in equilibrium, if it is at rest, anti-clockwise equals clockwise moment. Now F2 D2 लिख देता हूँ इस साइड पे and on this side F1 D1. अब मुझे बताएं किसका अब्दुल्ला डिस्टेंस ज्यादा है? इसका डिस्टेंस कम है ना? So if the distance of the rubber band decreases, so their force must have to increase so that to make the both side equal. So their force must be greater. ऐसे लिख देते हैं. In this case, D2 greater than D1. So F1 must be greater than F2. So to make them balanced or in equilibrium. ठीक है? तो इसमें हम लिखते हैं the weight of rod will produce no the distance of rubber band from pivot is smaller. Why the force that rubber band exert is larger than the weight, as the distance of rubber band as the distance of rubber band as the distance of rubber band from pivot is smaller. So the force exerted by rubber band must be greater than must be larger or greater than force due to weight, force due to masses of weight. Next is the mass suspended from the section XY in figure 1.2 has a weight. This is the total weight. Calculate the force that the rubber band exert on the XY. Force आपने find करनी है कि how much the force exerted by the rubber band. तो उसके लिए हमें पता है अभी जो हमने ऊपर लिखा था एंटी क्लॉकवाइज मोमेंट इक्वल्स क्लॉकवाइज मोमेंट. तो anti-clockwise moment must be equals to the clockwise moment. Anti-clockwise moment equals F1 D1 and clockwise moment is due to the masses. So F1 हमने find करना है and the distance from the pivot is 2 बचे and the weight of the masses are 4 multiplied by, is it 16 or 16? Yes, 16. So the answer is F1. 4 multiplied by 16 over 2. This is 32. Oh, just a minute. गलती की है Abdullah. We always have to take a distance from pivot, not from the other point. ठीक है? We always have to take a perpendicular distance from the pivot. 16 is the distance up to the rubber band. not to the pivot. Pivot is the point ये लिखा हुआ है ना. Pivot is this rod, not the rubber band, not the rubber band. Yeah, 18 is the distance. Name 4 multiplied by 18. पहले अगर 16 f2 ज्यादा कर चेक करो जरा. 36 2 ज्यादा हुआ ना. Explain how your answer to B part 3 is different if the weight of the section is not negligible. हाँ हाँ, तो weight फिर इसका मतलब है now the clockwise moment is due to the masses and due to the weight of the rod XY. ठीक है. So the weight of rod, the weight of XY creates clockwise moment, creates clockwise moment. ठीक है. And to balance it and to counter your balance it and to counter it the force due to rubber band will be rubber band will be greater than 36 Newton. अब आपको ज्यादा फोर्स लगानी पड़ेगी because now one additional clockwise moment is added. Because in previous case the clockwise moment is due to the masses and anti-clockwise moment is due to the rubber band. But if the weight of xy is not negligible, so we have two clockwise moment. So rubber band has to increase its force to make it balanced. ठीक है. काफी है यहाँ तक आज. Okay.